Alright, what's up? Wanted to do a quick overview of Astra because I know that we had a few questions about Astra and how we're possibly shifting from Viper to Astra on a few maps and the likes. And there are a few things I want to point out about Astra before we get into anything. Number one, Astra is going to be a character that you play, you're not going to get a lot of kills. I promise. If you play Astra, you're not going to get kills, and you shouldn't hound on yourself getting kills. Number two, Astra is really map oriented, and by that I mean you need to be constantly looking at this thing on the top left of your screen, constantly looking at it. You also need to have your ears open. So along with the map, you just got to have your ears open constantly. Astra is, if you play Astra where you set down your stars at the beginning of every round like this, right? It's really predictable, and now your util is limited to exactly where you set down your stars, correct? So what you want to do is maybe, talk with your team and see what they want to start by doing. So let's say maybe your first thing you're doing is a fast A take. Instead of just going here at 5 seconds before the round and doing this and letting this player rotate here and this player rotate here, if your plays are that telegraphed over the rounds, what you want to do is instead, you just want to put maybe a smoke like this. And maybe just a smoke like this, something like this. Maybe have your Cypher cage here. You just have to be reactive. That is part number 3 is reactivity. You have to play reactive with your map, with your audio, and with your team information, everything. So, disclaimers out of the way. Let's get into this. So this is a very general guide on Astra. I'm not talking about Haven here. I'm talking about principles of Astra and so forth. I want to say a keynote before we start this video. All of my videos are just made with the purpose of sort of explaining and showing some of the things that I've learned in the long time that I've played FPS games. But I never want them to come off pretentious, or I never want them to come off as that I am like something higher than you, right? We're all on the same team. We're all playing for the same objective. So this is just a share of knowledge, alright? So let's get into this. Let's start with a defense. Let's start with the principles on the defense side for Astra. Astra's defense it really goes one way. She is a good sight holder for anything that has a choke like this, correct? So let's say you've been put on C. You want to play something like C or maybe A. C is really good because it has one choke point. This is really good for Astra because her abilities cover the entire lane. You can do suck, you can slam, your smoke will cover all of this. All of that is covered by our util. It's really good for a defensive side Astra to be played on a site with a narrow hallway. We're talking short on bind. We're talking A main on ascent, B main on ascent. Both are good actually. But you don't want to have Astra anywhere like this. Astra has 5 incredibly impactful global abilities. You never want to peek early. In fact, if you're going to bait on any character, it's going to be Astra, because you do not want to ever be the one to die first. That's very important. A defense-sided Astra should also keep her ears open, just as one of the main principles. You need to keep your ears open. If somebody is rushing down A, you got to get your smokes down as quick over here as possible. Make sure you get your smokes, maybe even get a suck down, anything to stop their push. Your util is incredible for stopping pushes, and you have 5. So if you get 2 smokes down, you have 2 more for their next push. That's like a 30-second delay on the enemy team. So it's really important to pay attention to what's going on around you and so forth. Let's talk about Retake Astra. So Astra for retakes, again, incredibly strong, because unlike Omen, where you have 2 smokes and you're probably going to end up with 1 on a retake, you have 5 smokes that you can retract and use as a clearance, use as a stun, and use as a smoke. Your ultimate is incredible for retakes. Let's go through ability by ability. So let's just start with your generic smoke, suck, slam. So these abilities are incredible. So let's look at A side Haven, for example. You have one position an enemy plays, probably here or here. These are 2 important spots. You can literally shut out the enemy just like this. Just like that, you've shut off 2 main angles for the enemy. What you want to do is maybe something here, maybe something here, depending on what your team comes, right? You can suck here, you can slam here. Any of this is incredible util usage, right? So for Retake Astra, listen to your team's comms. cut off any valuable sight lines. And if you're on site already, always use your smoke on the bomb. Never give them a free smoke to play around. It's much harder to shoot somebody through a smoke than it is for them to shoot you on the bomb through the smoke. So always smoke yourself off. So yeah, that's really the quick and dirty. All right. I'm making this video as sort of a part, like an overall, like a general look, if you will, at Astra and her abilities, and just really general. So let's just switch over quickly to attack side. And actually, one thing I didn't mention on defense. Let's go back. Sorry, ping-ponging. One thing I want to mention on defense is Astra is incredibly strong because her util is global. Astra is incredibly strong for getting information. If you are playing C and you jump peek over here and see that nobody's C long, you can always push up. Don't get the orb, don't make noise, but even just getting a position here, like you've extended your audio range from here to like here, right? You hear everything now. And even getting a push like this, you don't have to go for the flank kills. If you get the information, that is 10 times as valuable, right? It's just as valuable as getting a kill. And also, like, Astra can get in incredibly unpredictable spots. You can also use your retake smoke ability as a sort of short cross smoke. Like, this is incredibly strong right there, like that. Do you see? So yes, Lurk Astra is incredible on defense side. Not Lurk, but flank, I guess. So now let's flip over to attack side for real. Astra has incredible power on attack side, on the attack side in general. The reason is one, again, your smokes are global. This means you never have to play with your team, and you can be anywhere you want. It's well advised. If you're going to play Astra, I incredibly emphasize going to watch Boaster's games. Boaster played some Astra on Haven during last year's sort of LAN global event. Or I guess not last year, this year's other LAN global event. That's not Berlin. So Astra's attack side is invaluable because, one, you should always be looking. Let's say your team is going A. You can be here, right? You can be right here, stacked up, ready to smoke A, get your smokes down, and then you can do a late push here. You might even be able to catch somebody crossing mid unaware. You can catch something like this. And even now, all of your abilities are just as impactful to the team as they are if you were just pushing with them. Nobody should complain that you're baiting them, because getting plays lurked up like this, like mid, it's so valuable. In any way you can split up the fight on the defenders in different directions is always going to be better than just pile driving 5 one in the same direction. Especially in a game where there's Rays, Astra, and flashes like Omen's flash, anything like that. Like, splitting up your attack is important. As Astra, your smokes are important, and you should use them the same way you would Omen, right? And they smoke Heaven, smoke CT. But you should also be looking to use your abilities to either, one, predict, or two, use prior knowledge on where the enemy is. So, like, let's say you know that one has been playing back here. You can get a suck, and maybe you have your jet dash in a smoke. This suck goes off, free kill for your jet. Be looking to predict where enemies are playing using either prior knowledge or just game knowledge. So it's important to kind of go map by map and break that down, which I'll do in future videos, but I wanted to get the quick and dirty down today. So that's really all I got to say. I'm skipping over a ton of stuff that we'll get into the specifics on individual map videos, but let's just run over again. So one, let's start with the disclaimers. Number one, you're not going to get a lot of kills on Astra. Do not bag on yourself for it. It's just the way the character is designed. Your assists should be high, but even then you probably won't get much assists. You're not going to get assists for smoke blocks, anything like that. So if your stats are low, it doesn't matter. As long as you get 5 smokes down, 5 abilities down on the round, that is incredible. Number 2, Astra has global abilities. Use them like global abilities. And number 3, Astra gets invaluable information on pushes, lurks, anything like that. So just constantly be aware of how you can get some more map control with Astra, and so forth. Let's go back to defender side. On defender side, Astra, you want to play a site that has a narrow entry point, preferably one with 1 entry point, and you want to play that using sucks, smokes, slams, anything that you can, anything that's off cooldown. Number 2, for defender side Astra, keep your ears, your eyes, look at your map, all that stuff. Just stay awake to everything in the round, because you have to be able to react very fast to what is happening on the map to help your teammates. Otherwise, your smokes are not useful if you're going to go into a retake every time. As strong as she is on retake, it's not going to be useful. And also on defense, Be sure to avoid ever giving First Blood. This also goes for attack. Try not to give First Blood Astra ever, because that is 5 incredible global abilities lost instantly. Let's look at the points for attack side. On attack side, Astra, always be looking to lurk. Your global abilities make the lurking incredible. Number 2, don't just smoke. Be looking to predict enemy positions using prior knowledge or using game knowledge. And number 3, make sure to be careful with your ultimate. I know I didn't mention this earlier, but now that I think about it, it's very important, and I'll go into depth on ultimates on other maps in separate videos. But your ultimate can really grief. If you're playing against somebody like a Phoenix and you're ulting something like for example, like, I don't know, this, like, you're gonna get flashed out of, right? You always need to be looking to use your ultimate to cut off the sight lines at the like hardest possible angle as possible. So that's very important. But yeah, those are the points I have now. Those are the things you should sort of pay attention to when you're in ranked games, when you're in casual games, when you're in our scrims, anything like that. Just be paying attention to audio, your map, what you can do for your team, what you can do for yourself on the lurk, and so forth. So yeah, more videos will come on individual maps. I'll talk about setups, and I'll talk about usual spots that people will play, and so forth. So yeah, thank you for watching.